And I thank God for just being my God. And I thank God for wisdom. I thank God for knowledge. And I thank God for just allowing me to come up with an idea how to get myself out of that. I don't consider myself that I know it all because I don't. Only thing I can tell you what I did. And I started out when I was going to college that I was going to be a CPA because I love working with numbers. I really do. And I quickly changed my mind by the time I got in my junior year because I was at the University of Texas in Austin. And at that time, see, that's 1973, it's probably 1975. And by being black at a predominantly all-white school, they did everything they could possibly to weed us out. And they were very successful of doing what they was doing. And I used to spend all my time studying. I wasn't the type to get out there and party. Because by the time you got through, and I worked my way through school, so I did work study. So by the time I did all of that, go to work study, go to eat, then I had to sit there and study. I mean, I would be studying. So I didn't really have a social life. Okay, say maybe I was a nerd. But the bottom line was that they made it so difficult for the black. We even had a little black meeting, trying to encourage the black because they made it so hard and they did do their best, and most of the time it worked. But come to find out years later that they had brought a lawsuit against the University of Texas because of what they was trying to do. But I thank God anyhow because, like you said, you don't know what his plans are for you. And at the time, I was like, maybe this is not for me. Who want to sit there and do numbers all day? Tax numbers every day. But like at work, I work with I guess I do numbers at the time because I got to do all the math and all the figuring it up. And there's a certain part of my job that nobody don't know how to figure it out but me. When I tried to tell them how to do it, so there's one girl always asked me, she said, you know what? She said, you're the hidden figure in our group. I never looked at it like that, But, I mean, sometimes it would take us an hour just to figure it out, but I somehow just figured out, and I just know how to do it, and I had to tell myself not to get beside myself like, oh, I can do it for you. I had to tell myself, don't do that, and then I noticed now that they'll leave those hard ones for me to do. And, yes, they already know. But everybody wrote down their financial goal for 2021. Seriously. Okay. What about since the last time I talked to you for 2020? How did that go? Did y'all accomplish most of your goals? Okay. Okay. You got to have a vision for the year and a financial vision. And my vision was, now you got to remember, everybody's not going to be the same. Everybody's budget is not going to be the same. Your budget got to fit your particular need because everybody's situation is not the same. And for 2020, I had told myself there was several bills that I want to pay out because I said, hey, I'm getting down to the line where I'm about ready, say, close the book up and retire. But I said, I didn't want to spend my retirement paying all my money in retirement. I'm paying bills. And so then I had to say, I got to come up with a plan. Because my goal was, I told myself, I feel sorry for the rest of you all still working because y'all not going to be able to retire at 65 unless you're financial able. Because way the government got, retirement age is no longer 65. Mine is 66 and 3 months. So some of your young ones up here, y'all might be 70 years old and y'all still working. And the only way to keep you from working at 70 years old, you have to have a financial plan set up. Because Uncle Sam is trying to raise it up to 70. And as far as Social Security, I don't know if it's going to be around. Now, for me, if I want to get the full benefits of Social Security, they want me to work to 70, age 70. I don't want to work to age 70. You know, I thought I was going to do good at age 65 until somebody said, oh, no. You got to go 65 in 3 months. And I told Pastor Barlowe, you got to go 65 in 6 months. You know, you'll still get some benefits, but you won't get the max. And I'm okay with this, but it's how you handle your money before you retire. It's how you handle your money. And I'm like this. We, older people, make the mistakes that y'all don't need to make. Majority of us have made mistakes. When you're young, because most of the time you're not taught how to handle money. And when you get married, you just take the blueprint and say, oh, well, you know, I do this and do this and do this. And next thing you know, you're in debt within 2 years of your marriage. And then you're struggling. And I'm trying to say, let's not do the struggle because most of us in here did the struggle for you. I mean, we struggle. Believe it or not, we struggle. I mean, struggle. And if I always tell Bishop, he tell me I'm cheap. And I tell him, because I struggle all my life, that's why. And I remember going through my 20s, going through my 30s, and then when Bishop started the church, woo, that was some struggling because we had to make payments. We had to make church payments, the rent, and that was first. We came second. The kids came second, and me and them came third. And what little that I did I had to learn how to make it work. And back then, cost of living was low, but your paycheck wasn't high. And I tell somebody, I said, yeah, I remember, I started out Mutual of Omaha, and I remember $500. But we all thought that was money. But that's the cost of living, $500. You can take $50 and buy a whole lot of grocery. Just like, for instance, cable bill. I have the exact same thing on my cable that I had today, that I bought years ago. And it was cable with all the channels on, and it was only $77 a month. Now, I thought that was a lot. Now, let's fast forward to now. $230? I didn't change nothing. Exactly the same. And I'd be going like that every 3 months or every 6 months, they change something. And I said, well, can you find something else to make it low? Oh, I can't afford that. And one man finally said, but ma'am, we got to make a living too. So I said, okay. But I was told if you talk to them and say, hey, there's any way you can figure something out that I need to lower, and they will work with you. They will try, well, we can take this out. We can take this out. So finally I said, I don't want to go past $199. And then finally it went up to $2-something. I said, what you mean $2-something? I told you $199. But they hit you with taxes and all these hidden fees. So I got to the point where I said, all right, you got to pay the piper. And my husband said, as long as I keep his sports channels on, I don't care about all the other channels, and make sure I got my HGTV channels, I don't need no religion channel, none of that stuff. I don't need that stuff. But he got to have all his sport package. So when you have all that sport package, that's kind of... So I'm back to square one, so I couldn't get rid of some things. But back to having a budget. I keep telling myself, I told my husband, what more can I say than I already done said? And so I'm going to try to change it up a little bit. Now, once you have a vision for your budget, everybody have a vision? Did you bring it? You look at it? A vision. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to 2020. 2020, I said I wanted to pay out Discovery, Dillard's, Sam Club, and there was one more. I had 4 bills that I wanted to pay out. And I found out when you get cards, credit cards back in the day, when your credit was not so great, the interest rate is real high. You pay for those interest rates. And I'm the type of person, I don't believe in giving anybody no money that I don't need to give you no money to. That's such thing as you get a ticket, pay the ticket. Why you sit there and let the ticket go and tell it's $300 when you could have paid it at $75? That don't make sense. To me, you just throwing money away. That's just throwing money away. So I was so happy looking at my Discovery card. It used to be Sears back in the day. That was my first credit card when I was at the University of Texas. I was so excited. And my goal was to spend no more than $50 because I work study, and work study was only 99 cents an hour. So your budget is small. And that's my goal was no more than $50. If I had to max out, it would be $100. That's about it. And I was so proud of that little card, and I was so proud. I got my first credit card, and but now it was Sears became Discovery. And then once I got married, Discovery, that card became, I went to buy my diapers, baby diapers, the kids' clothes. When you don't have no money and your budget's tight, you do what you have to do. And I found out that Sears had diapers. I was buying diapers from Sears. We didn't have where we can go to, let's say, hey, Deborah, can you give me some money to buy my baby diaper? I didn't have that. We didn't have that. It was just us. Because we didn't have no relative. It was just us. And that's it. So we used whatever avenue that we could just to keep everything going. So we bought baby diapers, whatever Sears saw, about the children's clothes. And I told you I found out that tough skin jeans was a miracle. You don't get no holes in no jeans and no knees. And the kids go, why we got to wear tough skin jeans? Because I don't want to keep buying new jeans. I'm on a budget. But now holes are in now. And then we began to have to use credit cards to make ends meet. Because, we have the church and church come first. I remember the time for a whole year, I didn't buy no clothes for the kids. Couldn't afford to. But then next thing you know, the credit cards, then you start spending money. Next thing you know, the credit start getting high. And like you said, they'll give you a minimum payment. That's how they get you. A minimum payment, and then they get you on those interest rates. And I found out the highest interest rate you have when you go to the department stores. Like Dillard's, Vermont don't have no interest rate, so that's pretty cool. But when you go to like Dillard's, J.C. Penney's, everybody had a J.C. Penney card. But look at your credit, look at those interests. So if they say, I was looking at my interest on one of them, because I'm the type of person, I don't believe in hit and miss. If I owe, I pay. So I'm like this, don't make the bill if you can't afford to pay the bill. And I just don't do it. Now, my other half may be different. You got to work together. You have to work together. That's just it. As a couple, you have to work together. When you're single, you're working with yourself. And before you say I do, you need to find out what each other have. Because when you put that money together, you got to find out where that money going. Because the first thing you're going to say, well, he got more bills than I do, or she got more bills than I do. And next you know, all my money's going paying their bill. But then they said we weren't flush. But you better figure that out before. Because I'm serious, because money can start an argument. Money can break up a relationship. So y'all have to be on one accord. And I say, I'm helping Zuri with hers. And I was starting to bind it, but yesterday I was printing some, and next thing you know, I print the whole thing, and so I just throw it in the notebook. But you need to, number one, when you start your budget, you need to first know how much you have to spend. What is your income? Monthly income. Not the gross, because you don't see that. You work out the money you take home. Right? You need that. You need to know that. Now, I'm blessed where I can work overtime, so every 2 weeks is a little bit different because it depends on how many hours I put in. Some people know exactly every 2 weeks what your paycheck's going to be. Those who have different hours and you get more hours, more than 80 hours, it's going to be different for you. So you're going to have to put a kind of like average out what you think it's going to be. Then you need to write down all your bills. And before you write down your bill, you need to list every expense that you use for the month. Try a couple months. Take 1 month, write down everything. That means if you're going to Scooter, write that down. I'm going to Chick-fil-A, going to the garage. You need to be writing that down, Deb. Sister Byra, all that every time you go out to eat, you need to write that down. Some people just like to go out and eat. And like Bishop said, he budget $23 every day. Now, I got to thinking, 23 times 5. How much is that? What's 23 times 5? That's more than 100. Now, me, I can use that $100 somewhere else. But that's his money, and he budget that money. So that budget, that's his budget, $100 and some dollars going out to eat. Everybody can't do that. you know, and just and you know, like and then tips too. You know, you got to put that in there when you go out to eat. You got to do a tip. That's part of your going out to eat money.
Mm-hmm. That's your reputation.
Now, just like the other day, last week, you know, we fast, and I was still at work, and Bishop said 3 o'clock, 2:45, he was heading out the door, going to Village Inn. So I asked him, could he pick up me something? And I said, well, and the first thing he said was, give me the money. So all I had was a 20 on me. I told him what I want and what I want to order. When he came back home, I only had like $3 little. And I asked him, where's the rest of my money? And he said, oh, girl, I paid some tips. And I was like, off of my money?
Go work that.
But when you have going out the money, include your tip. Going out money includes tips. Because you have to tip. You know, because some people, you know, when you as a waitress, that's how they make a living, is their tip. And you got to be fair. I don't care if you say, oh, they didn't give me lousy service. Hey, still do right. Give them a tip. Now, if you go see, and I'm telling you, go to Denny's, and you watch how Quanta work. When you see how Quanta work, how hard she work, it'll change your mind about when it comes to tip. So anybody who has this problem about tip on out to Denny's. Watch her how she work. And then you'll change your mind. Now, once we do all of that, try to keep a record about everything you spend. That includes tithes, offering,
Yes.
coffee,
Yes.
Sunday school offering.
Yep.
You know, you might well throw in them money that you probably loan. I'm about ready to open up my William D. Barlowe envelope again. You know, throw all of that in. And that'll kind of give you a blueprint of what are you really spending. Now, if you're spending more money than you bringing in,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble. If you're spending less money that you bring in, oh, you got gravy.
Yep.
So, and another thing, don't live outside your means. Because sister so-and-so got a new car, I got to have a new car. No. That would mess up everything. And, okay, and one of the things I want to say, I had Tina write that, do not save what is left after spending. Instead, spend what is left after saving. You understand that? Okay, when you change your budget, you can change your life. A budget is so important. It is a picture of showing you what money coming in and money going out. Budget would tell you where your money's going and where you don't have to wonder where did it went. Have you ever heard people say, oh, I made, let's say, $78,000 a year. Or let's say I made $78,000. But I don't know where the money went.
Yep.
Have you heard people make a statement like that? I don't know what I did with $78,000. And what happened to your money? Somebody's not keeping the budget. Now, we're going to go back and read the scripture. And the scripture we're going to read is Ecclesiastes 7:12. Now, when Cameron told me what he was going to do, and I asked him, why you come up with 7:12? And I said, ooh, this child really listen sometime? And I was like, okay. Okay, will somebody read that? Maybe?
Yes, ma'am. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Okay. Key word, wisdom is a defense. Money is a defense. But wisdom giveth life. So I was looking and I was reading one passage. They were saying that when they say wisdom, the money is a defense, in other words, they were paraphrasing saying that if you got money, money will get you out of whatever trouble you may be in. Because like when you call a lawyer, you got to have money. So that money is a defense for your case.
That's right. Yep.
So when you say defense, you got to have money to cover all your expense.
You right?
I don't want us to live from check to check to check. Like I said, we already did that for you.
Okay.
I'm not going back that way, and I'm not going to do it for the next generation.
That's right.
And I believe by the time age 50, you should have done kind of like got rid of some of your money problems. You should have figured it out because you don't want to go through life as you get older.
Right.
All you're doing is paying bills and can't enjoy life. Life is for us to enjoy. Don't wait till you're 65 years old to enjoy life. Why you can live a good life while you're here now.
That's right. Come on now.
And everyone that is working, y'all should be in a 401k or whatever your job have you. If you start a 401k, Start it while you're early and try not to keep going there and borrowing from it. Start a saving. And as I said before the last time, I start saving just $25 every 2 weeks. At Mutual of Omaha, they still let you do. Do they still let you do that at Mutual of Omaha, Keith? Okay. At Mutual of Omaha, they had a credit union. Y'all still have y'all credit union? Okay. Back in the day, they had set up a little room just like a little credit office. And if you, for instance, like you need some money, you can go and you can request, say, hey, I need a little loan. And, and that was kind of great that, it worked out. But I started out with $25 a month. Not a month, every paycheck. So that would mean that was $50. And every time I got a little raise, I increased it to the point that I was doing $100 every 2 weeks. That was $200. And, man, I thought I was doing something. Until when they did the 401k. By me not understanding what the purpose of the 401k was, I thought it was like, hey, I need every penny I got. I don't need to give them no money. Man, do I regret thinking like that. When you don't know, you don't know. When you don't know. So I'm telling you do not make that mistake. A 401k, you need a 401k. It's preparing you for the future. That's what it is. Yep. They'll let you borrow from it. You have to have 3 reasons to borrow it from. One is buying a house, a sickness, and something like a real emergency. But once you do it, you get penalized, and you can't get back in for about a year. So how do I know? I did it because when we was buying a house years ago, I had used my 401k to do our down payment on it. And the reason why, there was no money, no saving account. We didn't save. So I was the type of person, I believe in saving. You have to save. And the first thing you need to do is have an emergency fund. And they'll tell you first thing you need to do is $1,000. If you can't do $1,000, $500. How's your emergency fund, Myla? Okay. Now, I have a job where I can work overtime. I basically work like 6 days a week. On Saturday, by the time y'all get out of bed, I'm already done. Because I get up early, start at 7, I'm done by 10 or 11 o'clock. And I put my little 3 to 4 hours in, and I'm done. And I normally do this every week, and then during the week, I usually work 9 hours a day. Start at 7 o'clock. I get out 4:30. I'm all about the money. I'm all about the extra. Because what I did was I built up my extra to the point where my bill is bill money, extra is extra money. And I ended up opening up 2 checking accounts. I got one at, it's not First Commercial Further. What is it?
What? First National?
No, Commercial Further. It's Bank of the West, and then I opened one at Wells Fargo. And when I opened up one at Wells Fargo, the first thing they did, they told me, hey, we'd like to take $25 of your money and put it in a savings account. And I wanted to tell him, you don't tell me how to do my money. And that's the first thing that rose up in me. I mean, they're going to tell me what you trying to say because I'm black and I don't know how to say no money. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But it's true. And so what I ended up doing, I said, go ahead, take the $25. I never touched the money. I just like money, see, you just don't see it. I just don't touch it.
Don't miss it.
So I probably had this account maybe 4 or 5 years. So that's $25. So I looked at it. I think I might be $4,000 by now. I don't touch it. I don't touch it. And the money that I used to go on vacation, that all came from overtime. My bill money, this is how I do it. Bill money is bill money. X amount of money I put in saving. First thing I did was make sure in my checking account there's a cushion. I don't believe in giving them no money because the check done bounced. I don't believe in writing no check. If I don't have it, you just don't get it. I just don't do it. And my goal was to make sure, I think I started out, well, I got $300 cash. I already know there's a $300 in my checking account. But sometimes you get these unplanned events will pop up. And the next thing you know, oh, I know I got the $300 sitting there, so I have to use that money. But I got to the point where I had put $1,000. So I got a cushion of $1,000 in my checking account for bills. Now, everybody here that have a car, people that own a house, the car gonna break down sooner or later. Something in that house gonna happen. And as soon as we got our house, we had pipe problem. And that was like, one was cost about $1,500. That was cold cash. I had to call a plumber. And then I had to call somebody to come in and get all the water damage. And so, luckily, me and Pastor Barlowe had the cash to pay for both. And just like about 2 months ago, I kept telling my husband, I said, something don't smell right. You know how sometimes you can smell like the sewer or something? And he said, oh, girl, it's just all in your imagination. I said, no, I think something don't smell right. And you know how you go down in the basement? You go down in the basement, you go, I keep telling something ain't smelling right. And he keep telling me it's just my imagination. Okay, a week later, he's off to breakfast. I get a knock on the door. There's the po-po at the door. And I'm going like, and he said, ma'am, did you know your pipe outside burst? And it's just running down there? And I said, oh, thank you. And I'm wondering, how he know that? How did he know that? Now, I don't have a sidewalk. What are you doing just driving in the neighborhood? Only thing I think of, maybe the water ran down all night long. Maybe it ran into the neighbor yard, maybe. Because when we got up this morning, my husband said, the water pressure is different. So we didn't think nothing of it. But until the police knocked on my door, and he said, it was your water. So he said, do this. And I said, okay. And that's what it was. So I called my husband. I said, hey, you need to come home right away. I said, the policeman at the door. And I said, man, I thought maybe something might have happened to somebody. That's the first thing came to my mind. And I'm trying to figure out, how he know to come by my house? There was no water running down the street. You know, how did he know? And the only thing I can come to the conclusion, maybe the water, when it ran down my front sidewalk to the front porch, it must have ran all the way down to the neighbor. I don't know. They must have called. Dante, did you be looking at people's faucet pipes? So that was another expense. We didn't do no credit card because these days, when something happened, they want cash or a credit card. I don't think they look too much as a check, but they want cash. So when you become a homeowner, that's another saving that you need to put aside. When you own a car, that's another saving that you had put aside, you know. Just like last year I took my car in, and I had just watched it the night before. And I always say they out to get my money. And so he said, oh, everything fine, Miss Barlowe. Only thing about it, he said, I saw this little knot on your tie. And I said, so what do that mean? Oh, you got a budge, and that means that you need a new tie. Oh, man. I don't see no budge. I got this thing that they got to make their quota. You know, I'm the sucker, so go out and I just, you know. So then I called my husband. I said, they said, I need a new tire. I got a budge. And he tells me, well, maybe you do. That ain't what I wanted him to tell me. So luckily, I knew, and I said, well, how much the tire going to cost me? One tire
500.
cost me $330. I didn't even know that you can get insurance on the tire. And I said, well, don't I have insurance? He said, no, you don't have insurance on the tire. But when you get this tire, it will have insurance on it. So I knew I had $330. What you should do, fork it out, pay it. And then as soon as I gave them said, go ahead and do it. So then I told him, can I see the picture of it? Because they came in there to show you a picture. And my first thing is, how you know that's my car? You probably showing some of everybody else. I said I'm cheap.
Go handle that.
And, that's the first thing crossed my mind.
Right,
are they taking me?
Right.
Are they taking me? So
Yep.
then Bishop said, oh, tell them you don't want to buy the tire. We'll go to Tire Inc. and get the tire. I said, too late now. They're already doing the tire. So he said, okay. So I had the $330 in my account, so there was no use for me sweating bullets because I had the money. So once you get your $1,000 set aside, then you got to have another emergency fund, and that emergency fund got to cover whatever may come up with your house. Kids cost. You know that. Kids are a blessing, but kids cost. School start every year when school start. You got to buy books, clothes, all that add up. So I'm hoping everybody be proactive that before school start, you start planning for ahead of time. I start planning in May for June. I started planning between May and June for the kids. Because when you got 3 boys, that means you got to buy underwear for all 3, socks for all 3, jeans for all 3, shirts. They add up.
Yep.
So, I used to find some places that used to have layaway. And then I had said the last time how I got caught up with dealers. Dealers back in the day used to have these fantastic sales for 66% off, all the marked down. With 3 sets of kids, I'd be buying, so they have. That's how I got my dealer bill up high, trying to take care of the kids. Till one day I looked at my bill, I looked at my Discovery bill, because I paid them. My Discovery bill would say that I might owe them $110. I'll give them $150. Then I look at my bill and I said, whoa, look how much interest that went. So if I gave them $150 and they said $60 was interest, where's my money?
Yep.
So you got to watch these companies that do that. And when they start, that was an eye-opener for me. So then I said, all right, I don't like giving people money that I don't need to give money. And because if you do this over a period of years, next thing you know, you say, how did this card get that high when I know I didn't spend that much money? It's the interest that they have charged on you. Now, I know I didn't spend no $4,000 worth of clothes on them kids. But it was the interest over a year, and it never go down. So watch your cards. Now, credit cards can be good, and credit card can be your best friend, and credit card can be your worst enemy. It's how you deal with your credit card. Your credit card helps you establish credit. It also helps your credit score. If you pay them on time, your credit score will go up. Now, you got to have a couple credit cards. You should. First, I said, I'm getting rid of all of them. No, don't get rid of all of them. Because down the line, you might need that card. For instance, like you buying a house, all that will show up on your record. You need that credit to build your credit up. All I'm saying is discipline yourself with your card. Like you say, oh, I got a new credit card, and I got $500 on my credit card. And some people just go spend. You don't want to do that. Now, back to, I can say today I have reached most of my goals for 2020. I sided that since I noticed that my Discovery was going down, I just work on that. So that'll leave me with the biggest one, which was the dealer's account. And the interest, woo. Sometimes you can call them, especially if you have like a Visa, Capital One, you can call them and ask them would they lower your credit. Your interest rate, but they're only going to do it just a little bit. But it seems like when you have these department store, no, they want to make money. Their goal is to make money off of you. Okay, since I didn't go to Africa, kind of didn't want to go, but I was going to go because I wasn't going to let him go without me. So I had saved my money. Like I said, once May is over with, come back. I save my money for a whole year for the next trip. I don't use no bill money. It's money I sit there and work for. I'm the type of person, I'm willing to work the extra hour to meet my goal. If you have a job that you can work extra hour, I say use the extra hour to help pay down whatever you need to do. So my goal, I said my goal was December 2020, I wanted to get rid of Dillard's, Sam's Club. I wanted to get rid of, and Von Maur. And I got to the point I had to ask myself, is it a need or is it a want? I disciplined myself for 2020. I didn't do a lot of shopping because I had a goal in mind. Because I was looking at 2021, I'm walking out the door. That was my goal. And I want to walk out the door. The only thing I have to pay is a phone bill and my tithes and offering. That was my goal. That's how I wanted to plan. I want to live a life where I can get a check and I can say, I don't have to pay Sears. I don't have to pay Capital One. It's just all my money. I want to live I want to live a good life. I want to, but I'm in the 60s doing this. You don't have to do it in your 60s. While you young, do it now. All my people that's 50 and over, y'all got to get a game plan. You don't want to go to life bills. They're going to be there, but they don't have to be there.
Right, come on.
And so what I did was I made a decision. I said I had $3,000 for Africa. And I said, if I take the $3,000, put it on dealers, that'll drop me down to maybe about $1,200. And then I can work with the $1,200 divided by 8 months, and I give them that X amount of money. In December 2020, I don't owe them. And so then I said, Sam's Club, I think I owe them like $600. Divide that by 6 months, I don't have to owe them. So I had 2 saving accounts. I pulled $1,500 from one, and I pulled $1,500 from another, and I came up with my $3,000. It didn't come out of no bill. It didn't. Now my saving is depleted because this year I did not save like I usually do, but that was the sacrifice I was willing to do because I want to pay down some of my bills. So I told my husband what I wanted to do, and he said, "I don't know about giving them $3,000 right away." And I'm like, I'm looking at that interest they're giving me. I'm talking about they were charging me like $60 interest, and $60 interest is not going to paying out the bill. And every month it adds up. So I walked in the store and I wrote the check for $3,000, and it was like, no, maybe I shouldn't have done it. Maybe I should listen to him. Maybe I shouldn't have did it. No. And then I said, you know what? It's just like, since it came out of saving, it ain't like it came out to pay my bill. So I went down there and I said, hey, I want to write that out. So she did it and everything else. The next month I got the bill and I said, man, my interest still kind of high. And so I went ahead and said, instead of giving them so they'll tell me, $75. No, I gave them $150. So by after 2 months, I was still in 1,000. So I went back to my savings. I took out $700. $350 from this one and $350 from that one. $700. So then I got it down again. I said, I can breathe. But you got to remember, it was money that I had set aside a couple years ago. And I don't regret taking that money for Africa and using to pay that. I have no regret today. None whatsoever. I have no mind fight. Especially with COVID going on, no mind fight. COVID helped me to be disciplined.
All right.
It has. And another thing what COVID had taught me. COVID taught me how to buy in bulk. That's something I never did. You go to the store and you can't find toilet paper. You can't find paper towel. You can't find this. You can't find this. Every time I walk in Sam's Club, I see people with a toilet paper. Man, I go grab and get me some. And I'm the type of person when it comes to paper towel, I never use a lot of paper towel. Don't laugh. I use maybe 2. Every time I got paid, I bought 2 rolls. And, you know, that's all me and him we need. But then when COVID came, I don't know when the next time I find paper towel. So I find myself being like everybody else at Sam's Club. Throwing that in there too. Throwing that in there too. And then I said, he going to think I'm crazy. But I said, hey, you don't know how long this going to be. So you got to be wise in your spending. So with the paper towel, I don't do the little sheet no more. I mean, I throw a big sheet. Because I got paper towel. It got to the point that every time I went there, when they had paper towel, I bought the paper towel. And then finally I said, all right, we got to start hiding the paper towels now. And I was driving around with paper towels in my car because I didn't want my husband to say anything about why are we buying all these paper towels. So after doing that for a couple of weeks, then I said, you know what, I got bold. I took it out my car and I just put it there so he can see it. And I tell him, hey, you never know when you're going to find some. You never know. I still can't find disinfectant wipes. So, but COVID done taught me how to change my spending habits. Because you never know when you're going to have it and when you don't have it. So by me reaching my goals, I can honestly say I only owe Dillard's. I know. See, November I paid them out, and I had a 0 balance.
All right.
That was one of my big ones, and I still got Capital One, and I just continue to pay that one because I want to keep that one open. So the cards that I want to keep open, I'm giving myself a max. I don't want to go no more than 300, and I think that's good enough. So by me discipline myself, I had to really discipline myself. I had to tell myself, you stay out of Walmart. I quit buying shoes. I quit buying clothes. I did, because I was on a mission. I was on a mission. And then, if you think about it, I got shoes, and I haven't even put my feet in all year. Uh-huh. And so then I said, you only can wear so many pairs of shoes. I mean, it's to the point where I let Bishop do all the spending. He can't find, every day there's a box coming in. But instead of spending on things, I kind of turned my spending into crafting. Now, I would spend my money for that. But I have a budget. And like I said, in my budget, I started out with $150 that I keep cash. And out of the $150 with that cash, one of them is gas, one is food, and one is personal, and one is for my craft. Now, by me working at home, I used to have gas, depending on what kind of car I had. And when we moved out here, man, gas done cost me twice as much to come back this way. And I'm the type of person, if it ain't on my route, don't you ask me to come do it, don't go out my way. I said, that's gas. But you know what? Then sometimes I have to just just get off the driven path. But By me working at home now, my gas for my car is not that much. So what I used to probably spend $50 every 2 weeks and sometimes $75 every 2 weeks, I'm doing good by spending $20 every 2 weeks, which is good. Sometimes that car don't get driven until I come to church.
Yes.
Or when I got to go run an errand.
Yep.
So that's money I'm saving. So then I told myself, okay, I won't do the $150. I break it down and just say $75. But the other $75 is floating in my account. It's floating. So you got to give your account a name. Your budget a name. Just like I told Davion, his budget going to be named DB. It's going to be Debbie Barlowe or Davion Bree. Take your pick. And I told Davion, don't mess with my money. I was serious. You messing with my money now. So, have you messed up my money? Mm-hmm. Very good. I'm so proud of my Davion. I think he's one of the reasons why I think I'm up here. And when Pastor Linda had mentioned it in Sunday school, I'm going like, keep my name out your mouth. Okay, once you get your budget, write yourself a goal. What is your goal for this year? What is your goal for this year? What you want to pay out? Where you want to go? Who you want to go see? Now, like I said, in my budget, I have to keep, by my parents are older in age, they're 89, and my dad going on 90. I have to keep money cash or either on a debit card because if something happened, I have to leave to go down there. So I need to increase. First, I started out with $300. That was years ago, and now it's not. So I said I'm going to do $1,000. But I need to increase because a ticket right away will cost me probably that'll wipe me out right away. Mm-hmm. So I have to keep money. This is my budget. I have to have money for something like that, you know. And then I budget my tags for my car. I budget that for my car.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, when I gave Pastor Barlowe, when I decided that I know this is crazy. I used to never have a car payment. But I just want to have something that was mine. So now I got a car payment. So when I told Pastor Bo, you know, what I want, I told him I wanted a Jeep. Well, no, I just said, you know, I wanted something small. I don't need nothing big. I don't want nothing gas guzzler. So he said, how about Jeep? I said, I don't mind because I like, you know, I had Jeep before. So the stipulation for the Jeep was I said, don't laugh. I said, it has to be brand new. Because I don't want no issues coming up. Because I ain't budgeting no money for no car, you know, issue. Right. And I said I want my car payment no more than $275.
I know that's right.
Hey, KT, I got exactly what I wanted.
All right.
But what I did not realize that all this time my credit was okay. I did not know. And so then when my husband said, girl, you got some good credit. and I said I do, and God gave me exactly what I wanted, everything. And then at the end, and I said if it costs more, I said you just walk out the door. Well, that's not part of my deal. So when we got there, he said when you go there, you're gonna say no, 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 no to everything he asked you. You know, because Bishop said, you know, this is your course, so you're going to be doing all the talking, you know. So I go, no. And then Bishop go, you can say yes to that one. So then at the end, so the man said, well, would you like to put $1,000 down? And I looked at Bishop like, that wasn't part of the deal. And so then we talked, and I said, you really don't want that car. Let me trade that car in. So I said, that car be giving us a problem anyway, so let's just trade that car in. So he said, okay. So I let them have his Benz. So last year I let my son talk me into this other car. payment is twice as much. But I told myself, this is my retirement car. I deserve it. I earn it. I done worked all these years, so I'm paying myself. You got to pay yourself. So you got to put in part of your budget, you got to put allowance in it. Pay yourself. You don't want to work, and not have nothing to show for yourself. Every now and then you got to buy them. Every now and then you should have those pair of shoes. Every now and then, you should have your nails done, get your hair done, whatever. Take yourself on a trip. You should. But the only thing I'm saying is in your budget. Somewhere hiding in your saving. So what I did was, instead of the envelopes, I made myself a little cash binder. And I put some cash in here, and I only need 3. I made one for Ariel, because I only use 3 areas for cash. Everything else is paid out of a checking account with a check or with a debit card, or either automatic come out my account. So don't walk around with a bunch of cash. I know some people don't have checking account.
Come on.
But you should try to give them, because sometimes they don't give you no credit. Because now these days you got to have they check your credit before you have a checking account. So when they check your credit and they said you can't get a checking account, then you're going to have to go another alternate route. Some people use money order. A what? A prepaid debit card. Now, if you can't get a credit card, this is one way how you can get a credit card. It's called a secure card. That's how I got my 3rd credit card. After my credit was so messed up with everything else, I got a secure card. And what they told me was, give them $300. I gave them, I saved my money up, and I got my $300, and I sent the $300 in. And I made my payment on time. The next, about 3 months later, they said, hey, if you give me $75, I'll jack your credit up to $600. So I said, okay. So I gave them $75 more. And so all it is secure. If you keep paying your bills on time, they'll keep increasing your rate. Now, if you default, you don't get the money that you put in. But that is another way to get a credit card. If you can't get credit card, go the secure route. Now, when you have a credit card, these days you need to check. Some people said a lot of credit cards got different advantages. Some give you cash reward. Some give you cash back. Some do no annual fee. You got to find out what works best for you. What works for Coco may not work the same thing for Dimples. What worked best for you. And when you got kids, your kids are in your budget. Kids going to eat, they're going to grow, and clothes going to cost you. So you have to budget for your kids, because kids come first. The 4 walls, you got to have a place to stay. Everybody ain't going to let you stay at that house. They'll let you stay for so long, but then it's time to go. So, watch how you burn your bridges. You got to have transportation. People can get tired of picking you up and taking you everywhere you go. There's Metro. And these days, people too good to ride the bus. I can't believe that. I got on the bus just as bold.
I don't know how.
Because I had to get from A to B to go to work. And I was too scared to drive in the snow. I walked myself down that street, caught that bus, and took the bus down to Mutual of Omaha. I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it the first 3 or 4, 5 years. I was just terrified of the snow. That was time when my husband was in the military, I would wait 3 and 4 hours at Mutual of Omaha till he got out and picked me up at 7 o'clock. I just couldn't do it. But I'm kind of doing a little bit. I mean, I still got it, and I think it's that thing from the South.
Yeah.
And I really do. And I'm still like that today. If I know I got to get on that interstate, and the first thing you keep telling me is the car going to slide, and you're going to see black eyes, and I said, can I get a ride with you? That was one time, last year, it was snowing. I was terrified. I'm just terrified of snow.
Now you can see it.
Even though my car can, it's 4-wheel drive, I'm still terrified. I went to Dodge, took Dodge got the 90 and took Dodge to Pacific, and I crap all the way Pacific to Center and crap all the way home. It took me 40 minutes to get home. I didn't care. I just couldn't do Dodge going all the way out. I'm just terrified. That's my fault. I got faults. So
you put me on the bus, I'll be crazy.
No, I mean,
I don't know
what really helped me on the bus, I have to say, it was Lisa Mills' dad.
No bus.
That man was a nice bus driver. That man looked out for me. And the first thing he told me when I got on the bus, he said, "What a girl like you doing on a bus like this?"
Oh, shucks, now.
Shoot. Her daddy had all the women on the bus mad at me. Every day.
All right, Daddy.
I mean, he looked out for me. And I told his dad, I see why all these ladies like to ride your bus. Mr. Bailey, he be smiling. But once I got on that bus, I had so many enemies. But Mr. Bailey, he looked out for me. He looked out for me. I remember when a dude got on the bus and he came with me like he was going to flirt with me. And he stopped that bus and said, "Hey, you go all the way to that bus, back of that bus. And don't you touch her and don't you say nothing to her."
Woo! Did you ever ride with Pam?
No. It was always Mr. Bailey. He took me to work and he brought me back home. He was on the same schedule that I was on. And that was the day that I went driving in the snow. We were living out west in Millard. And I caught the bus. It was one of those riding. I did that for about a year. And by the time he brought me back home, they had snow. They had moved the snow, and it was this high on my car. All the cars were there. And I don't understand why would snowplow people do that.
They don't care.
And I'm going like, I'm going to get my car out. Mr. Bailey to the rescue. Mr. Bailey got out that bus. He didn't care about nobody on that bus. That was my friend. That was my special friend. Mr. Bailey got out that bus. He didn't care about all the other people on that bus that he had to take home. He got out that bus, dug my car up. He drove this way, that way, till he got it out. And I said, "Thank you, Mr. Bailey."
All right, Daddy.
So, your homework for today is make yourself some goals. Where you want to go this year? What you want to do? What do you want for your kids? What are you willing to give up? How's your money going? Now, for instance, Pastor Linda, you buying a house. You don't go and say, "Hey, let's say your house costs $300,000. You don't write the bill of $300,000 right away. You got to tell him what color my walls going to be, what kind of cabinet I want to be, what cabinet I want, what kind of floors I want, what kind of windows I want. So you are giving them $300,000, but you got to name that money where that money got to go. So she has to say, "I want these kind of fixture. I want this tub. I want a library." Boy, I can tell you what I tell you. Had a library. Better have a ladder on that library so you can slide away.
Oh, why not? Go ahead,
Gotta get
baby.
a ladder.
Go ahead, baby.
And Lisa, I know you got to get a craft room. You got to have a craft room.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a craft room.
Yes, she does.
So these are things you got to assign to where you want your money to go. So your money got to have a name to it. Name it, claim it. You in it to win it. So who afraid of their mother? Won't say nothing back to their mama. I know Davion. If you got to name your bill, if your budget got to be named. If your budget got to be named. May. That means you ain't messing with May. You can't mess up with May. Name it. You don't mess with it. Like I told Davion, don't mess with my money. DB. We got the same initial, but don't mess with Dear Barlowe money. And I'm serious. Because I feel like if I'm going to pour into you, don't mess with my money. I understand you're going to have some hiccups along the way. But you better straighten it out. And you can't straighten it out. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. When God bless you with an opportunity, ask God to give me wisdom, give me knowledge.
Come on now. Come on.
How to do this.
That's good.
Because I kept looking at it, and I kept looking at all this interest rate and how much they were taking from me in interest, and I was getting mad. And I said, well, I got to come up with a plan. And then some said, take that money that you was planning on going to Africa with. Did I miss the money? No. Was it hard giving them $3,000? Yes. Do I regret it now? No. Because it was just like when I walked in the store, some said, just turn back around, walk back out, and just write them another check for $150. And as soon as I gave them that check for $3,000, something happened. I don't know. That probably when a pipe bust, something happened.
Yeah.
But, hey.
It's okay.
That's just life.
Yes.
That life will always going to throw you a curve. Just be prepared to catch the curveball. You got to be prepared. And all of us over 50 years old, we really got to do something. Don't go the rest of your life. Enjoy life. Life is for living. People always say in your older age, you should be able to enjoy life. You don't want to be enjoying life like, oh, I got to pay this and I got to pay that. Make a plan. Get a plan today. Write it out. Make yourself some goals. Stick with your goal. If you got to have somebody to make you accountable for your goal, stick to your goal. I know Quana used to make her accountable for her goals. So I'm proud of everybody. I'm proud. If you even managed to have $200 in the savings account, I'm proud of you. That's $200 more or less than what you have. So let's not speak poor on us. We are God people. We are the best. And we should live the best life. But we got to get our finance together. You got to have a budget. Now, I'm to the point where I already know what's coming in, what's coming out. I shouldn't say this though, but I don't kind of write everything down because I know the fixed payments that I pay every month. I pay them every month faithfully, and whatever that's sitting in my account is just cushion. And just in case, like I said, when my tire went out, hey, I couldn't say, well, now let it stay and keep driving around. But I went ahead and was able to replace the tire.
What did they do with that tire? The one they took out?
I asked for the picture, and I kept looking at the picture, and I think they lying to me.
You should ask them to give it to you so you can take it somewhere
And
else.
I tried to tell Bishop, I said, don't you see that? Don't that tire look like that? And he said, no, girl, it looks the same to me. I thought, you don't have. And then this summer, I was at the store, got out the car, so having I looked, there was a nail in the tire. And the nail was at the part of the tire where
they couldn't fix
you couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
And I said, Lord Jesus, every year I get at least a nail. But why there? And the first thing came to my mind, here come another $330. So that blew my whole day. So I called Cam, and Cam said, go to Thai Inc. and see what they can do.
Yeah.
Don't you know when you go to Thai Inc., they pull out your nails, they don't charge you? I didn't know that. And so I went, and that was about like 8 people ahead of me. No, these ties didn't have no insurance yet. Well, when I buy a new tie, you get insurance. Yeah. And it wasn't a tie that had insurance. So I'm sitting down. There was 8 people ahead of me, and they all getting new ties and everything else. And I'm getting depressed. And then I see this article on the wall about how they can fix your tie. If it's this close to the edge, it can't be fixed. If it's close, maybe about a couple inch over, it's fixable. And so I was already like, okay, I got to buy another new tie. But I didn't take it to Mercedes. So I said, well, I'll call Cammie up. And Cam said, well, Mom, just take it to Thai Inc. They pretty fair. And Pastor Boy always say, take it to Thai Inc. So I go in, and the man said, as I waited for an hour, he said, well, ma'am, I already knew what he going to tell me. It's at the edge, and, we can't replace those. And I said, okay. I said, I understand. I said, Lord, I need a miracle today. And I said, Lord, why every time I get a nail in the tie? And so then another man said, well, let me go look at it one more time. So the guy that works in the store, he said, let me go look at it. So he goes out there and he come back. And then he said, ma'am, guess what? I was able to pull that nail out. And I put some stuff on to see what air come out. And he said, you came in just in time because the nail didn't go already through. And I was like, whoo, thank you, Jesus. You tell me God can't do it. Because Lord, no, I don't want to pay another $300. Because that was another new tire.
Come on, speak that.
And I was saying, Lord, I was so glad that the man that was waiting on me decided to go take a look himself. And every day I get out, I go, still got some air in that tire.
You was too cute.
Because notice it, I went straight to Thai Inc. I didn't keep driving because I was depressed. Here's another $330. But I thank God, that was like, whoo, I escaped that one. Okay, what time is it?
Time 8:17.
All right, I'm getting ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, the single sisters. I'm not talking about when I was with kids. I'm talking about the single ones. You by yourself. Y'all should be the richest one up in here. You don't have no kids. No kids. And all those single and your kids out your house, that's more money. So I found out when all of mine left, I had a little more money to spend. You have more money to spend. Just don't sit there and just... when they left, I was on I had to buy me something. It was just like I was on a high. I had to buy me something new every weekend. I was. Every weekend. And my thing about it, I had to find stuff that was on sale. It's just like I went through this phase where it was on sale. I got to have it. Ooh, I got this on sale. Well, I done passed that phase. Thank God. But single sisters, those who don't have kids, your money should be together. All you got is you. And those who's on their own, all you got is you. You don't have no baby daddy drama, no baby mama drama. All you should have is a car payment, rent payment, and money in the bank. Student loans. Pay your student loan.
MUD.
You pay your student loan. Don't be like some folks. They say, I'm going to just keep going to school and keep going to school and keep going to school. I don't get that. I just don't like, nobody no money. That's just me.
You're a professional student.
Yeah, professional. So, single sisters, single brothers. I don't want to leave my brothers out. you know. And every young couple with children, you need to retweak your budget again. First time you do your budget is probably not going to work. You got to keep retweaking it until it works. Because things change. Things will change. So, what you learned tonight? Get a budget.
Mm-hmm. Name it. Claim it. Speak to your budget. There's going to be money in my account. Yes.
You know, speak to your budget like you have a vision board. Speak to your budget.
Yeah.
You know, learn to discipline yourself. You know, discipline yourself. It's just like I had a goal, so for a whole year, I gave up a lot. But I'm happy. Did it hurt me? No. It just put more money in my pocket. And my credit score went up. So this year, my goal is to get back on track again, start saving money, and still pay out. I think I got maybe about 2 more bills to go. And I got to work on my 401k. Because I want to get rid of it so I can up my 401k. And then I can live a good life like May Lee. I can sit at home and study.
Y'all just jealous, man. You jealous.
But that's my goal. My goal is to, when I retire, I don't want to have a lot of bills. I want to be able to, whatever my little Social Security check come in, it'd be all Social Security, and it's not going to pay a bunch of bills. And I understand things going to come up, but I will have some money in the bank to cover whatever comes up. So that means if I have to increase my saving, I will increase my saving. So those are my goals, and I'm proud of myself that I can pat myself on the back that I did accomplish most of 2020, what I wanted to do. And I hope everybody else will do the same thing. Set your goal. Husband and wife, get your book, get your binder, look at it together, have your chart or what's coming in, what's going out, and what you want to spend. Do I need scooter every day? Or can I go to the store and buy me a can of Folger and get my own coffee maker and make my own cup of coffee?
Get that Keurig.
Can I do that?
Get that Keurig.
Okay. I got me a Keurig, set it about a year before I decided to use it. Because I haven't been a coffee drinker, but now I like my coffee. Mm-hmm. I sugar it up. I put the creamer in it, got to be hazelnut creamer. I got my Skinny Girl pecan syrup in it. I know they tease me and say, by the time you put all that stuff in, you ain't nothing but sugar it. I cannot drink coffee black. Black coffee is nasty. Yes. Self-employee? Okay, self-employed people, I can tell you, only thing I can tell you is you have to set aside a certain amount of money to cover, I say at least 3 months. Because you don't know how your money is fluctuating. So you had, let's say about you've been a real estate agent. Let's say you just had a great month. And let's say you probably got $30,000. $30,000, that don't mean you spend $20,000 and live out $10,000. You have to be wise on how you're going to do that $30,000 in cash. You probably got a car payment. You probably got rent. And you probably got a little more bills. But if you get $30,000, man, I'll be trying to pay some kind of bill out. Get your 401k, a Roth, or whatever you probably get. You need one of those. You definitely need one of those, and you definitely got to have money saved. Have $1,000 saved, emergency, and then you have another emergency fund for whatever may come up. You can't do $1,000, start out with $500. That's the first thing they taught us, get $1,000 saved in emergency. You don't touch it, you don't borrow it from it, it's only mean emergency. Is a new dress emergency? That pair of shoes, is that an emergency? Some people, Lisa, is that emergency?
Amazon, that ain't emergency. Your middle name, Amazon.
You got to ask yourself that. You know, am I willing to do it or am I not? And you say, well, you know, I'm going to get it this time and I just make up for the next time. Discipline yourself. You have to be disciplined. And you remember, you got to pay taxes too. Yep. Put aside money for that. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And everybody that have business down, and if your business your main income, just like you, Bo, you gotta put money aside because you gotta buy equipment, you gotta buy solution, all of that, and keep accurate record of your taxes and what you need as write out. Don't be crumbling up your paper. You know, I'm pretty bad about that. But Bishop, his stuff is immaculate. That's one thing he got on me. His stuff is immaculate. His bills. He don't like nothing crumble up. All his stuff is immaculate. Me, I go to the bank, take it, fold it up, throw it in my purse. You know? But Bishop, crispy. Yeah, one day I made a mistake and I folded up and I said, oh, they don't kill me. And I took the iron out and I ironed it. And then the second time I did it, I ironed it and the ink, it made it disappear. And I said, what do I tell him? There was no proof. It was just a clean piece of paper. And you talking about shaking in your boots? Because I know how my husband is, you know. Everything got to be crispy. And that was when I had to explain to him. And I said, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. My fault. I shouldn't have done it. I thought if I just ironed a little wrinkle out, and I didn't know it was going to disappear. It must be the ink that day. Okay, may God bless you.
What time is it? 8:27. We got time for maybe 2 questions. That was a good one, Shell. There's people in different financial situations. Before you leave, Sister Barlowe, anybody, quick question that don't ask to borrow money. I do want to see that binder, Sister Barlowe, not the money, the cash binder, because if you notice, she went from the envelope system, and I'm still on the envelope system, so I don't know. I didn't know we graduated to this binder. No, I meant where the cash is at.
This is cash, and I put name. I did one for area. I'm working on
okay.
One for Missouri right now.
So this is like a little calendar binder that has some sleeves in there that I call it my stash cash, that you put cash. I still have them in the envelope, so these binders are good. So get a binder or, but anybody real quick, otherwise I'm not going to hold her up. One thing she said about we got people that, Simona and Terrell, that are getting married. That's something that needs to be discussed. You got young couples. Kenny and Trey's finances changed now that they got 2 kids. Davion and Bree's finances changed. Brandon and Brashana's finances changed. Karen's debt is now Mouse's debt, whether she told him about it before or not. Till death do us part. Till death do us part. Mouse is like, yeah, this class is a little late. I pray for Mouse. That was good what she said about the single women. It got quiet in there, but it's about managing couples. One thing that we have in front of us, you notice how she handles her money is totally different. If we'd have had her husband teaching this class, we all would have had shoes and coats, and and everything else, but yet that did not deter her and her goal. So if you have somebody, hopefully we're taught to work together. It didn't come up, but different checking accounts. Some people, it works to have separate checking accounts. Some people have joint accounts. You have to be able to trust your spouse. You know, if you put money in there, you ain't spending it. Some of these fashion places spend. One thing about Lisa, she spends wisely. She has a budget. She don't play with, that's one thing Lisa, she's never been that way. She don't play with money. She has money set aside. You have, yeah. So that's, so you, and even it's you can look good cheaply without looking cheaply. So thank you, Sister Barlowe. It was funny, and Davion is the reason. He brought up his notepad, and he has the notes from January 15 of 2019 when you taught that class and some of the things that you went over. It's good to get a refresher. It's never what we don't need to hear. Sometimes you just need to sit and just like, okay, let me get it going. This is the perfect time to think about it. But she can teach it every day until you go home and say, I got a mess. I got to clean it up. You have to make moves to get it, because you'll sit up and it'll be 20, 22, 23. And what she said, you're never too old or too young to get started. We've suffered as a church. I don't want my kids to go through what I'm going through. This process of buying a home is like, man, I could have been done that. And my Africa money, I cried when I spent my birthday here in Nebraska. I'm not crying now because that Africa money went for an earnest deposit on my home. So I thank God that I had that money that I saved, but I only started at, when you taught it, it was $40 a paycheck, and I have never forgotten that, Sister Barlowe. And every paycheck, even my little Amazon money, from the first day I got started, I signed up for their 401. I'm like, take that money out before I even get my first check. So I have 2 401s, and I wasn't taught that in the beginning, and it's hard. You think, well, shoot, I need that little extra money. It makes a big difference when you see your gross, what you made, and you go all the way down to what you coming home with. Because if you look at it, most of your payments and some things, they go by that gross amount. I was trying to renegotiate my student loan payment, and they're going by the income driven. And I'm like, ma'am, what you seeing, I'm not bringing that home. She's like, but this is what you make. Yet if you need assistance, they go on by, okay, this is, but I'm not bringing that home. So I had to look at all the things that were coming out of my paycheck, and I'm not regretful for supplement and braces and insurance now that it's just me. Except for Obamacare says I got to carry Davion until he's 26, even though he's married. So a couple of years, so I have different things, but my 401k, until I just look at it and it's like, wow, that money is nice to have that chunk of change in both jobs. And I'm blessed to be able to work extra, and that goes for extra. So if not, we're going to go ahead and get ready for the most important part of our service, is our tithes and offering. That's a big deal. Because, yes, you absolutely can say something.
All you parents that are carrying your kids on your insurance until they're 26, and even though if they working and have their own insurance, your insurance going to be prime, because there's a rule most companies go by, longer versus shorter rule. So if Davion get a job and he has insurance, Pastor Linda, your insurance going to be prime because it was prior to you. Now, if Davion have insurance and his wife have insurance, it'll be by, no, for the little man, both of y'all got insurance. The baby insurance going to go by who has the earliest birthday rule. That's how insurance works. I do this every day, so that's how it works. But if you carry your child from the age of 20 to 26 and they get a job, your insurance still going to come first because that insurance was in effect long before he got insurance.
That's good. I tried to get them off. I was like, let me cut it down. They were like, no, ma'am. I said, but he's married. They said, no, ma'am. till he's 26, Obamacare. I was like, thank you, Obama. Davion, go to the doctor. Go get your teeth cleaned. So anyone else? Tithes and offering. That's a good thing it didn't come up. But another thing they look at, they like, you make this amount of money, but they don't see the 15% that you pay for tithes and offering. They consider that a charitable donation, like you giving it to the Goodwill. And they will tell you that's not something you have to do. And you'll be like, that's something I have, or do I have to do? God, you understand. But I'm saying the reality of it is, Sister Barlowe, May, when you're used to doing it, when certain things come up, it will mess with you, and that's where people get off. You got to have a non-negotiable mindset where you don't even include it in your income. And I don't. Because the government is taking their taxes off. And what messed me up is Trump and this dumb butt, and not everybody, but he took extra money, or he didn't take Social Security out the last 3 months of the year, and now he's taking it out double. But thank God I had that money set aside. I'm telling you, being disciplined with your money, and when you're single, you don't have to fight and argue with nobody about it. I could just make financial decisions on my own. No, I'm saving. I only fight with myself. I'm like, no, you don't need that. And having certain things set aside. I literally budgeted Simona's bridal shower because I know I wanted to bless her. That's not coming out of savings. That's money that I actually put in my budget. As soon as she announced it, I'm like, okay, Bishop's birthday money, that was in my budget. I've been talking about certain dates. I literally put them in my budget. Sister Barlowe's birthday, I put it in my budget. Every single thing. If Cammie comes out and we look nice in these 712 gear, he comes out with something new. Is it in your budget? No good you sitting here at 712 and then you going home and hungry. They got what? And they got 813. It ain't got 813, talking about 712. So tithes and offering, you have to look at it because they will talk to you and talk you into when they're going over anything. Even when they were doing my budget for financing this home, I was like, I nope, there needs to be so I had a budget. I knew what I can afford. And they're like, well, you can afford this, you make this. Nope, tithes and offering comes out. So if you need a tithing envelope, because that'll mess with you, and those who get money irregularly, you have to figure it out. Huh? Oh. And see, in Sunday school, she mentioned that $5 a week or a month, every little thing. And there's so many tools, guys, that you can go online and get and figure out a budget and put a budget in. But the hardest part is getting started. The hardest part is sitting down and tackling it and saying, okay, where am I at? And keep track. We complain about not having a lot, but if you look at your expenses, even I do like, oh, it's about to get tight. It's about to get tight. I went over and I'm like, I cannot believe I spent that much money eating. That's ridiculous. That much money doing stuff that I have nothing to show for it. Never again. So I made my financial goal was to pay off all my credit cards, and I did take some of my Africa money. I had Africa for my earnest deposit. Then I had a couple of cruises that I cried about that I didn't get to go on, but that helped me. And my credit cards are zero. Y'all, everybody stand up and clap. No, for real. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Y'all, I'm telling you, and I wanted to close them out, and it's hard looking at, I go on there every other day just to make sure, and one came up with an annual fee for $6. I'm like, I don't owe no $6. I hurried up and paid it off, but that is an amazing feeling. Even though I depleted some savings money, I can come out and get that savings money cut, but I no longer have that bill in my budget. My budget just got freed up. Whew. Sister Barlowe, thank you. I don't care. No, nobody else want to hear it. It has helped me because you mentioned it years ago, just $40 a paycheck. And every single time I get paid, I don't care what paycheck it is, I put some money. And it's more than that now, but that's what I started with. So thank you. Anybody else appreciative of the teaching we get from our First Lady? Amen. Money is a defense. Money is a defense. A lot of times our system is defenseless because we're stressing out about money. That is major. Anybody need an envelope? We're going to dismiss so you can go home, eat some chips and dip while you figure out your budget. Spouses, and Davion loves him some Sister Barlowe. She was on him. But so if you need Sister Barlowe, and there's other people here that are excellent with their money, you know, get with somebody. Don't be sitting there. Don't be ashamed of how bad your situation is. It is what it is. You're not by yourself. Get some help. And y'all pray for our sister Barlowe.